Prita G is coming. Prita G is coming right now to us.
Seja bem-vinda, Prita G.
Welcome, Shri Prita G.
Namaste, dear beloved Sri Prita G. Pranams. Hello, Prita G. Namaste, dear beloved Sri Prita G. Namaste, Prita G. Todos podem celebrar.
Namaste.
It's
So
immense.
You all.
Namaste, Prita G, querida.
Prita G.
Love you, Prita G.
Namaste,
Prita G.
G.
Happy birthday. Happy
Hello,
Thanksgiving.
Prita
We
G.
love you, Prita G. Thank you
Beautiful.
for being here.
Now let
with
me
us.
tell you.
Very happy to be with all of you.
Namaste, dear beloved Sri Prita G. I love you. Namaste. It's
how are you
it's immense joy to be here today with you, Prita G. We
Definitely,
are all
from
so
this side
happy
as
to be with you. Thank you so very much for this unique opportunity, Prita G, when you so kindly come to bring your wisdom to us, fulfilling our need for your presence, your guidance. When you come to bless the launching of FOA Brasil, answer our questions and shower your blessings over our lives. Oh, you bring us so much joy. Thank you so much. The Brazil Awaken community has been waiting anxiously for this moment, Prita G. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm also very happy that I'll be in Brazil this year. Very happy to get back there, to see you all in person. It's been a long time, but I'm very glad that it's happening this year. How are you all? How is your inner state? Is your
Very nice.
body in harmony? How are your loved ones? To love fully and totally, to live completely and totally, and then also to serve and contribute to the world from that state. This is life. And loving, living, serving, and contributing, it is all interwoven. They're not separate strands, but they're all connected and interwoven. What happens to you happens to the world. What happens to the world happens to you. What happens to your family impacts you. And what impacts you impacts your family. You are interconnected. You are interdependent with life. You are interconnected and you are interdependent with your family. And this interconnection and this interdependence is palpable at many levels. And as you understand this connection, you would begin to make sense of why the life is flowing the way it flows. You will understand and grasp the ways of karma. What is life? It is connections between one life form and another.
Conexão de uma vida e a
When
outra.
these connections thrive, life thrives. When these connections between one life form and the other sever, then life disappears. And you can talk about these connections at various levels. Let me talk to you about this connection at the pure physical level. In India, there is a very ancient forest. And in this ancient forest, 50 years ago, the government decided to lay a road, a tar road. So it would help the forest officials go on rounds and supervise the forest very efficiently. And it was a very innocent act. And the road was laid. The forest officials kept going up and down very comfortably. And in about 20 years, that part of the entire forest showed signs of death and disintegration. What had happened was some delicate connections that existed between one life form and another in this ancient forest had severed. So what had exactly happened was they laid a tar road in the middle of a rainforest. And this tar road stopped certain kinds of beetles from traveling from one part of the forest to the other part of the forest. And the birds that came to eat those beetles in that part of the forest stopped visiting that part of the forest. So what does it mean? It means the birds stopped, the beetles were not there, birds stopped visiting that part of the forest. That means the birds did not bring the seeds from the rest of forest in the poop. They also did not facilitate pollination of certain kinds of flowers in that forest. So a simple act of laying a tar road in the middle of the forest, and the result is an ancient forest that has probably thrived for thousands and thousands of years. That forest was dying. It is very unfortunate that the human mind can only see immediate consequences. And that is why the human mind always goes for gain in the short run. The ordinary human mind is incapable. It is untrained to see the big picture. It is untrained to see the long-term consequences. And that is the reason for so many calamities and the crisis the world is seeing today. The fundamental nature of life on earth is oneness. If it is oneness is the fundamental nature of life, then what happens to one part will automatically affect and impact other parts as well, right? Because it is just one organism. Our body is one, it exists in oneness. What happens to the kidney affects the muscle. So you abuse your one organ, another organ gets diseased. You abuse the liver, your skin would show disease. At the physical level, it is connected and one. Let us now come to the interconnection between your own body and your mind. They're not separate. Your body and your mind are connected. You give a lot of sensory stimulation to your eyes and to your ears. Say you're listening to loud music all the time, or you're on Instagram or Facebook, where you see the images moving at a very fast pace. Your mind becomes dull, period. Your excessive sensory stimulation affects your intelligence because your body and your mind are one. They are not really separate. They exist in oneness. What happens to one affects the other. That is why ancient sages, so many thousands of years ago, prescribed pratyahara. Pratyahara is where you're consciously shutting down your sensory perception. That is, you withdraw certain sensory perception for a certain periods of the day or certain days in a month. Because ancient people knew the impact of the excessive sensory stimulation, what it had on the mind, they were aware of it. They knew the excessive sensory stimulation caused an imbalance. They knew it makes you dull. Sometimes it even makes you violent. It makes you less blissful. It takes out joy out of your being. In India, at ACOM, we have young people come and volunteer their time for a period of 6 months. And the entire program is called Sankalpa. And in the Sankalpa, these young people, they go through Pratyahara, the practice of Pratyahara, for a few hours every day. Firstly, they would switch off their phones at certain times of the day. Sometimes they would be shutting down their speech for a few hours every day consciously. They would be shutting down the excessive stimulation in the ears by being in a quiet space so that they're not continuously exposed to sound. Many times they would be sitting with their eyes closed. Many times they would experience periods where they would not eat. Many times they would not be drinking anything for a period. And the result is, over a period of this happens, they go into Pratyahara in bursts, in small bursts over a period of 6 months. And at the end of it, their body itself moves into an immense state of calm, and the body heals. They become more capable of joy, more capable of ananda in their everyday living. Their intellect has become brighter. They've healed so many of their chronic problems, health problems. They've also healed their hearts from their habitual suffering state. Human body and the mind are connected. They are one organism. This is clear, right?